All right, everyone. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hopefully, you can hear me clearly. We are tonight is Financial Literacy Month free workshop live event. Workshop 4, increase your cash flow, increase your cash flow, increase your cash flow. If you missed part one, workshop 1 was understanding money. We did that. You can watch the replay as well on our YouTube, our Facebook, our Instagram, on our LinkedIn or TikTok, anywhere you can find that. You're free to watch the replay of that. We also had our workshop 2 that was legally avoid taxes. That was a powerful workshop. Our longest workshop that we had, and I believe that we're going to have, is become your own bank. That became a 4-part series, super powerful, but we're still on schedule with our workshop 4, increase your cash flow. Okay. And so this is extremely powerful. Hopefully you've been watching them. Hopefully you've been getting a lot out of them. Always feel free to text us at the number as well, right? Text more to 833-740-2315 for more information. Again, text more to 833-740-2315. We want to get as many people on. Share this with everyone you know. Share it on your pages. Share it. You can share it on your YouTube, your Facebook, your LinkedIn. Share it everywhere. We want to get everybody this information because there's a lot of information that's being shared that a lot of people aren't familiar with. So, with no further ado, I apologize. We're going to go ahead and move into the actual presentation now. And the main thing that we want to do in this workshop is we want to understand increasing cash flow, how to do it, what are the means of doing it, what does it actually mean to increase cash flow. So, what I always like to deal with is definitions, right? What is cash flow, right? So, cash flow is basically, if you look at this here where the income is, cash flow is income coming in. Whatever's going to create income coming in, this is cash flow. And so we're going to delve deeply, just strictly into this income area here, right? And the things that produce cash flow, we might talk about that a little bit, but we want to deal with the income and understanding cash flow. Now, one thing, like I said, that we don't really have a problem creating cash flow or income. The problem that we have is where we're going to put the income. That's why I dealt with legally avoiding taxes. That's why I dealt with banking and where you're going to put it, because I want you to understand these accounts that you want to put them in are going to be no risk, high yield accounts, right? And so that's what we've been working on, right? So I want you to understand that this income is key. But before we can get to the income, what we have to understand is we have to be cognizant of what quadrant we're in, okay? What quadrant we're actually living inside of, right? So there are 4 ways to produce income here, right? And this is the basic 4 ways. This is the breakdown. But all the other ways live inside of one of these quadrants, in other words. So I'm going to talk about the quadrants a bit, and we're going to go into the quadrants because the quadrants are how you create cash flow. All right. This is very important to get. So the quadrants create cash flow, right? Not wealth, cash flow. So let's look back here at the, I apologize. Hold on 1 second. Let's look back here um at the income, right? If we look at this understanding cash flow spreadsheet, that's the word I'm looking for. Spreadsheet. What we're going to find here is that income creates cash flow. Assets create cash flow, investments create cash flow or cash on hand, right? But cash flow is usually from, if you're is money's coming in, but they do not create wealth. That's why a rich person that has assets can lose all of their money. because it's not creating wealth. But you need cash flow to create wealth. So the first step of your journey is increasing your cash flow so that you can create wealth. But remember, it is your what you have that's creating interest for you, which will be in your accounts. So you need to find accounts with the highest amount of interest on return, right? So you can live off the interest. Your goal is to fill the accounts that are giving you the high. And when I say accounts, like a bank, I want you to think of like a savings, that to fill your accounts with the highest amount of money that is going to give you the highest return on interest so that you can live off your interest. That is wealth. That's wealth. But you need income or cash flow, right, in order to stuff that money into these accounts. So your goal in the beginning is to increase your cash flow. Now, let's go back to the quadrants. Now that we have a clear understanding of that, let's step back into the quadrants, right? So we have the employee, right? The employee has what? A job. Okay. And I'm wearing these glasses. I want to share this with you all. These glasses are not for me to be able to see. These glasses are blue blockers. And what they do is any type of blue light that's coming from your screens or your cell phones, if you find yourself getting dizzy or you start getting sick off of them, these block that light that's causing that. So I advise people that if you on the computer a lot or you use it a lot, like I do right now, I've been on hiatus. I've been out in the, you saw me on the beach and all that, kicking it, right? For the winter, right? So I'm back into work mode. I'm in grind mode right now. So being back in grind mode, I just want you to be clear. Get you a pair of these. They will help you tremendously. They help your eyes tremendously from getting any type of damage from utilizing the computer. So again, the employee, right, has a just over broke or a job, and this is very important because you're living check to check to check to check. This is the question I want you to ask yourself. If something happened to you, how fast would it happen to your family? And if you're in the employee or the self-employed quadrants, it will happen immediately. You want to get out of that. In other words, the question that I'm asking is, if you did not go to work, right, how long would you be able to survive at your present lifestyle without having to go to work? How long would you be able to survive? Could you go 30 days? Could you go 2 months? Could you go 3 months? Could you go a year? Could you go a lifetime? And that's where we want to get. We want to get where you can actually go a lifetime without working. That's our goal. That's why we're having these workshops. That's the importance of what I'm sharing with you. So I want you to really understand that. So as we look at these quadrants, right? We've got the employee, you have a job. Okay. Then we have the business owner. Then we have the self-employed who owns a job. Now, this is deep right here. And we want to move to this quadrant, but I'm going to share some other opportunities with you that's going to make it so you don't have to move to that quadrant, right? Okay. And that's going to be very important. So at the self-employed level, you own a job, right? You're still trading what? Time for money. Employee, you're trading time for money as well. And I'm going to share with you, you can never become wealthy trading time for money. Why do I say that? See, if you're trading time for money, right, that means that I can work one job and make X amount of dollars. So a person that's an employee, their goal, their mindset, the financial literacy level that they're at only affords them to have the thought, hey, I know how to work a job. Why don't I get another job? Now you're already working 8 to 12 hours at that job. Now you're going to work another 8 hours to be at 16 to 18 hours a day. But this is what most people do. This is normal. In this society, this is a normal behavior, right? Because that's where the level of financial literacy that a person is that's an employee. The only way they know how to make money is to trade time for money. But I don't care if you got 3 jobs, 4 jobs, 5 jobs, there's not enough hours in a day for you to be able to trade time for money. Now, the self employed, and I've been in all four of these categories. So I want you to understand, I'm not talking about anybody on a negative level. We just have to be real with ourselves so we can get to the next level of development. So the self-employed, what you say is, I want to become wealthy. I want to become rich. I'm going to start my own business. But the self-employed own a job. If you own a business, self-employed, the self-employed style of business, and what that means is that you're either a practitioner, like a doctor, or a dentist, and you have your own practice, or even a lawyer, or you are a small business owner where you actually are in the store. Even the ones that you see where you might see those small mom and pop stores on the corner, you'll see the owners in there working. Anytime you're in the business, anytime you're working in the business, anytime you're working in the business for hours like 8 hours, 12 hours a day, anytime you're doing that, you are self-employed. You're in that circle. So if today the cashier doesn't show up, not only are you the boss, you're the boss and the cashier. If today the person that's supposed to be stocking doesn't show up, you now have to stock it. You are the boss and the stocker at the same time, right? No matter what it is that you're doing, you are always working. You're trading time for money, even though, right? This is another location, but you can also create income here, right? So the employee creates income, even if you got a second job, you're creating cash flow. The self-employed is creating cash flow, right? But you're trading time for money. You can't become wealthy doing that. And this is what I want you to get. But these are ways to create cash flow. We're talking about creating cash flow now, right? Flipping houses, right, is almost self-employed. Day trading is self-employed because you have to spend time doing it. Remember, when we come back to the income statement, there's a difference between assets and investments. We discussed that, correct? On understanding money. So if you didn't see that, you need to go back and watch Understanding Money to understand the difference between an asset and investment. But investments, such as investment property, where you're flipping it, you're not getting rental off of it, that is a job because you only get paid right when you sell it. So you're working. The day trading is definitely a job because you have to constantly watch your stocks, right? Day in, day out. That's a job. You're self-employed, right? Those are investments, but it is not wealth, nor is it asset. You could consider they'll consider it an asset. You could put it on paper as an asset, but in reality, it's not because an asset is what? Something that's bringing you in cash flow without you having to work. That's an asset, right? Now, the next thing is becoming a business owner. This is different. This is where, and if you've never read the book, The E Myth, if you've never read that book, The E Myth, I'm advising you to read the book, The E Myth. Why? Because The E Myth is a powerful book, right? It's one of the most important books that you could ever read is The E Myth. And The E Myth is such a powerful book because what it does is it breaks down the business owner situation, right? So now in the business owner situation, you now own a system. You're not working in your business, you're working on your business. You have people that are working in the business while you're thinking working on the business. And that's a different place to be in. This is where you want to live when it comes to business. These are the assets you want to have. You want to have the assets where you're not working on the business, you're working, I mean, you're not working in the business, you're constantly working on the business. Anytime you have to work in the business, you're here at self-employed. You have not graduated to business owner. You haven't graduated to the B. So your goal is to be able to remove yourself from the picture. This is the key understanding of removing ego. When you understand and truly understand removing ego, you will understand business ownership, truthfully. But people want to be seen in this and that. That is where you lose, and that's where you end up self-employed. We'll go deeper into that at a later juncture when we get into some other books and so forth. But in this, I want you to totally understand employee to self-employed is trading time for money. Here at the business owner, you own a system where you're never working. You're working on your business, not in your business. You need to remove yourself. And so what you're doing is you're creating systems, right, that will allow for you to come out of it. And you slowly get yourself out of it. So even if it starts as a self-employed business, your goal is to make it franchisable. So examples of the business owner where you own a system or being in the B quadrant is franchises, usually franchises. Large corporations will have this as well, and network marketing companies, right? If you're a network marketer, you are a business owner. And people do not understand the power of that industry, direct sales, network. They don't understand the power of that, right? I might do a whole treatise on that, but at another time, but not on this call. But I want you to understand those industries, you become a business owner, right? So franchise, large corporations, right? Because once you own a corp and you become more of a stockholder, and you have an advisory board and so forth, that you're working on the business while people are working in the business. A franchise, you're working on the business while you have people that are actually buying your businesses and working in the business that's bringing you money while you're not working. In network marketing, you have a team, right? Of actually, it's a franchise, because actually what it is everybody has their own business, right? And now you're a team, right? That are always working together. All right. Welcome to the call, Clara. Welcome anyone who's on the call. I just see you put in the chat. Great. Welcome to the call. Glad you didn't miss it. Glad you're here with us again. Outstanding. Invite people, share this, do everything with your people. And so in network marketing, what it is, you have distributorships that are working on your behalf that is bringing you in money while you're not working, right? So the reason millionaires and billionaires advise network marketing, and they said if they lose their money, they would all do it again with network marketing, is because there's no overhead. See, the goal in business is to do what? What is the goal in business? The goal in business is to reduce your expenses. Well, what if you could start with an overhead of 150 bucks a month instead of an overhead of $1 million to do your business right, or $15,000 or $50,000? What if your overhead, and you can make millions? You can make the same. That's the crazy thing about direct sales. You can make the same amount of money in that industry as somebody that opened a McDonald's franchise, except it's only going to cost you about anywhere from 100 to 500 bucks, or it's going to cost them $1 million. That's how real this is. That's how real that B quadrant is, like that industry is. And millionaires and billionaires understand that. but it's the average person again. So I told you, if the average person is doing it, don't do it. But the average person don't do that. It's the winners that do it, right? So I want you to be clear on that. So employee, you have a job. Self-employed, you own a job. Business owner, you own a system. So no matter which format that you're doing it, these systems are all creating cash flow. These quadrants create cash flow. Investor. This again is investing. What investments do we recommend? If you're going to invest in a stock, if you're doing day trading, which is not true investing, that really brings you back over here into the self-employed, but at least you can start there and start learning the system. There's nothing wrong with doing day trading and then also having long-term investments. So if you do day trading, but you're having long-term investments, you want to make sure what you're investing in has what? Dividends attached to them. That's what's going to make you an investor. But investing is really a plan. It's a plan for success to do what? To bring you back here. It's a plan to bring you back to account to get as to now you got put your money where? In these accounts. Until your money is in a no risk, high yield, no pre or post tax situation, you are really not investing. Even though you have investments, that's not investing until you are able to create interest to where you're able to live off the interest. For instance, let me explain to you what I mean. The business owner, no matter which form you use, creates something called passive income or residual income, right? In other words, they're making money. We make money while we're not working. We make money while we're sleeping. Like there's days when I wake up and there's money in my account, or I see money that's going to come into my account and I had nothing to do with it. That's when you know you're on residual income, right? This is key. That's where you want to live. The employee does not have residual income. The self-employed does not have residual income because they have to get up every day and go to work. If you have to get up and go to work in order for any amount of your money to come in other words, if I don't go to work today, if I'm an employee and I don't go to work today, I don't have any money coming in next week, right? If I don't go to work for the week, I don't have any money coming in that week. The self-employed, if they don't go to work that week, they don't have any money coming in that week. But a business owner, right, the one who owns a system, if he don't go to work for 3 months, he got money coming in every month. So if I'm a business owner, I can go to not go to work for 3 months and have money coming in even though. That is a business owner, right? And you can be in all three of these quadrants. You can be an employee, self-employed, and a business owner all at the same time. But you want to be on this side the strongest, right? So that's the key to business owner and business ownership. Now you have people that work with you to do what? Make money. This is powerful. That's a powerful thought, right? So that's an extremely powerful thought. That is an extremely powerful idea that we want to stay conscious with, right? Now, the investor, what this does right here is create a machine that's bringing you money that allows you to do what? Become the investor, which means what? Bring this money over here and drop them into these high yield accounts. And it's going to do what? Increase your interest payments that are coming in. So where do we see this? Let's go back to this portion here. The debt cycle, right? So now we got the debt cycle coming in, right? And so what I want us to do is I want us to understand this here. Very important. This is what the average person is addicted to. Okay. The average person is addicted to the debt cycle. I want you to be very clear on that. Okay. And we don't want to be addicted to the debt cycle. but we were raised in the debt cycle. In other words, remember I said financial literacy is not taught in the school, it's taught where? Where is financial literacy taught? Somebody put it in the chat. Somebody put it in the chat. Where is financial literacy taught? Does anybody remember? Financial literacy is not taught in the school. I want you to pay attention. It is taught at home. Financial literacy is taught at home. Therefore, the reason that we ended up in the debt cycle is because our parents taught us the debt cycle. Because if they're living in the debt cycle and financial literacy is not taught in any educational institution, and you learn financial literacy at home, then you saw your parents go to work, right? Or hustle, or you saw them, you know what I mean, own a business or whatever, but then you saw them pay bills. They were short on cash. They used their credit to try to keep up with the Joneses and live an extraordinary lifestyle or a regular lifestyle, if that, right? Even if they could get credit. And then you watch those interest payments grow, and they got interest, higher payments, and you saw them have less money. You watch this happen. And then you watch them retire with 40% of what they could barely live off of at 100%. This is the debt cycle, right? This is where people get stuck, right? We don't want to be stuck in the debt cycle, right? We want to be in the wealth cycle. Okay? That's where we want to be. So we want to move to the wealth cycle. This is where we have to get to. Where we got income coming in, and then we do what? We pay ourselves, right? I want to make sure everybody can see that. Give me 1 second. Then we pay ourselves, right? So we want to get some income. We want to then pay ourselves. We then invest this money, right? And then we master credit, right? We don't spend credit, we master credit, we invest credit, and we get our score to the highest level. Our balances grow, our account balances grow. We receive interest payments, right? We receive interest payments, okay? We receive interest payments. And then what happens? We got more income coming in, okay? So let's look at it on this screen here. I want us to look at it here, okay? Look at this, right? We got income coming in, right? We invest that money in either in investments or assets. It brings more income in, right? And then now we take that money that's coming in, that cash flow, and we either buy more assets or investments, or we put that money into the high yield accounts. Our interest payments that are coming to us instead of going out. See here, when we look at the debt cycle, right? Let's go back to the debt cycle real quick. When we look at the debt cycle, the difference is the balances that are growing is the interest that you're paying out to the credit cards. So you got higher payments. When you get to the wealth cycle, right, your balances are growing that are paying you now interest so that you have more income coming in. See how that small change flipped everything. So now these higher payments coming in, right? Or these accounts, these high yield, no risk, tax-free accounts, right? That if you want more information on, just text more to 833-740-2315. But when those high yield, those now those accounts are now paying you interest instead of you paying interest. And now what's happening is you're becoming wealthy. This is the I quadrant. This is the true I quadrant that most people don't find because you think that investments make you an investor, and it doesn't. Investments is not investing. Investing is actually a plan that is going to lead to generational wealth, and it is the boring side of business. So everything else lives in the B. So let me show you what I mean when I say that. If we have assets that we're producing, right? So let's say I got a job, and I'm going to use this as an example. I got a job, and I'm making, let's say I'm doing what, 1,200 a week. I'm just saying that. You might let's break it, let's make it lower just for the sake of it. Let's say I'm doing 800 a week, right? And let's say that I got $800 a week coming in, and my expenses payout, let's say my expenses are approximately 500, right? A week. Now, I've got 300 left over, right? I've got 300 left over here. Okay, I've got 300 left over. Now, if this is the case, that's my cash on hand, 300. Now, there's two things I could do with this 300. I could put it in I could put it in a high yield, no risk, non-taxable account. I could do that, right? And I could drop that in for 300. Every single week, I'm adding 300. That's 300, 600, da da da, everything, right? That's adding up every single week. Okay. And that would grow. And if I time this times 52, let's do 300 equals, let me do this real quick, equals 300 times 52. That'd be, by the end of the year, that's 15,600 in an account. Let's say we're getting 10% on that, right? So if we did that here, right? I got to make this where it automatically populates. I'll do that for the next one. Let's see, 10%. So we're at 1560, right? It's going to yield 1560 for the year. But this is compounding interest. All right. That is good. But we could use that money more wisely. We could use it wiser. How? We're going to drop this 300 in here, even though, right? But we're going to borrow against it. So what we're going to do is, let's say we got 15,600 in our first year. I'm just going to keep this as an example. I can take this 15,600 and I'm going to start looking for some assets. So let's say I got a rental property, right? And I was able to get that with a down payment, but I can borrow against this to get the down payment for the rental property. So now I'm borrowing against it. I'm still making this 10% on this money the whole time. And I don't want to get deep into this because I'm more focused on cash flow. And so let's say that this rental property is bringing me in, let's say it's bringing in, uh, how would I do that? Let's say I'm going to bring it up here. Let's say this rental property is bringing me in $500 a month. Let's just say that. Let's say it's bringing me $500 a month after liabilities and everything. I'm clearing 500 a month. Let's say that, right? This $500 a month is also going to go into this high yield account also. See what I'm saying? Boom. Now I'm growing. until this number of interest equals my expenses. Then when this grows above my expenses, now when this equals my expenses, I'm financially free. When the interest payments coming out of here equals my expenses, I'm financially free. But this $500 a month, I can put this in this high yield account, or I could put it in another high yield account, right? Boom, I could do that. And now I'm at $500 a month on just this one rental property. Well, what if I went to go get another one, or another one, and another one, and another one? I've got this money coming. This is cash flow. Or what if I invest, or if I got dividends coming in quarterly, every 3 months, right? Dividends. Whatever the amount is that's coming in, I can throw that into these accounts. And now these accounts are bringing me in residuals forever. I never, ever have to touch this money that's sitting over here. I never have to do that. The money in these accounts never get touched. I'm not spending my cash flow. I'm investing my cash flow. I'm borrowing from my bank, because if you watch Become Your Own Bank, you understand these are you actually having your own bank. And now I'm borrowing from myself, creating the terms myself for me to pay me back, and I'm still getting the interest payments on these funds, even though I'm using the money. And when I pay it back, now I got double. So if I borrow this 15,600, and then once I pay it back, now I've got 35, actually 36,200, right? So excuse me, I'm sorry, 31,200, right? Yeah, 31,200. So here's the deal. What I'm saying is this: once I pay it back, then I'm gonna borrow again. I'm gonna do the whole process again. Here's what I want you to get: is that this is why the wealthy do not spend money, right? And if I get my credit repaired during this time, now I'm going to do what? Get a credit card, right? Boom. But am I going to spend that credit card? No, I'm not. I'm going to invest that credit card. So let's say they give me a $10,000. Actually, this would be here first. It wouldn't be a liability at first. It would start in cash on hand, right? So if I got a credit card worth 5,000, we could put it here for now. 5,000. And my cash on hand, it goes up from 300, including that 500 here, right? Per month. Let's say now we're at 800, because our bills and everything are paid with this job. We already know that, right? So now I got a rental property at 500. I'm at 800, and I've got a credit card for 5,000. Right, so that's 5,800, and we could put that in another category called credit, but it doesn't matter. I'm just going to use this for now, just as an example, right? And this credit card is 5,000. We know that's a liability, but really, it's not a liability yet until I start using it. But what we're going to do is, let's say we wanted to get this property, and it was going to cost 5,000. We decided to use the credit card. All we have to do is figure out how long we got before interest hits on this credit card. Number one. Number two is, even with the interest payments, is my return on the rental property, that 500 a month, more than what I got to pay back to this card per month, right? To actually pay it off. And I know it is, because you're going to know it. There's going to be a minimum payment, right? So the key thing is, it's going to be less than 500 a month. So you're always going to have positive cash flow. So now we've used the credit card to invest where we're still getting a profit. So let's say even if it was the payment, the monthly payment, which would be an expense. I'm going to use this as a credit card expense. Our monthly payment, let's say it was, and this will be high, and I know this is high. Let's say it was $200 a month for that $5,000 card that we use. And we're getting $500 on the rental property free and clear after any expenses on the rental property. That breaks it down to, now we're at $300 a month coming in. even though, because we're going to make this payment off. But once we pay that $5,000 back, you understand what I'm saying? We're back to the $500 a month, and now we got the property. So I want us to be clear. I'm just using these as examples, showing you this is how the wealthy build. This is how they use credit. They don't go, you spend credit and go buy some clothes and this and this and that. They use their interests for that. They buy their clothes, they buy their BMWs, they buy this, that. All of that is done with the interest because they're taking all their money and putting it in these high yield accounts until they become wealthy. So the key thing is understanding the where we started off, which is the income or the cash flow. So I'm about to erase all this back to where we were, right? And so what we want to do is we want to add as many assets that are bringing in cash flow as possible. Now, I'm going to show you another celebration. I'm going to show you another thing that we got. Now, let's say I open a business. Let's say I decided to open a franchise. Let's start with the small base business. Let's say I opened a shoe store. Well, let's not use a shoe store. Let's use something simple. A restaurant. There we go. That's something that an average person will open, right? And a restaurant can bring in some decent money. Opening a restaurant, I've seen people clear, some decent money. Let's say your restaurant is bringing you in about 5,000 a month. Let's say it's a month. Let's say it's a small restaurant. After expenses and everything, I ain't adding all that up right now. It's bringing you in 5,000 a month. And that's doing pretty good. I mean, for a very small restaurant, but in its beginning, because usually on any business, you're not going to start making money for 3 to 5 years, but you will have cash flow coming in. So for instance, a restaurant can bring you in a nice amount of cash flow, about 20,000 a month. Right? So let's say this is bringing you in 20,000 a month, which is about what? 5,000 a week? Yeah. Yeah, so let's break it down to the week right now. 5,000 a week. You got you a restaurant that's running, right? And let's say you got you a nice little part-time job that's bringing you in about 8 a week, right? Or let's say about 8, 4 to 8 a week. You might have to work more than that for that, but yeah, let's say that, right? Now, let's say you got the restaurant up and running. That would be a small base business, and you could take this money that you're making here and do what? Put it in those accounts. But the small base business, remember, you got to work this. So you got a job and you got the restaurant at this juncture. Now, let's move to the next stage. Let's say you open a franchise, right? Let's say you got a franchisable business now. And we can use direct sale. We're going to use direct sales because it's very inexpensive. No, let's use a franchise. We're going to use a franchise. Let's say you open a professional franchise, like a McDonald's or something, right? But let's say you got an inexpensive one. We can get one. You can get certain franchises might cost you about $10,000 to start to $50,000 to start. Okay. And you were able to go and get a loan for that amount. So I'm just saying, let's say you were. Some people can, some people can't. But everybody really can. And so let's say you got a franchise, right? This is an asset. Why? Because it's making you money while you're not working. Actually, the restaurant is not an asset. The restaurant would actually be another job. I apologize. But the franchise would be an asset because it's making money while you're not working. Your restaurant would be an investment, right? That's what your restaurant would be. And your restaurant would have a value that would go here in the amount. And your franchise would have a value that would go in this amount, but it would have to be valued, right? But what we want to say is, let's say your franchise is bringing you in, because it's already a name brand, it's already known, people know who it is, whatever. Let's say that it's bringing you in, let's say it's bringing you in about 10 to, let's say it's about 20,000, 30. It could bring you in probably about 20, 30, 40, 50,000 a month. Right? Let's say it's bringing you in 50,000. I'm cool. And we can be cool with that. 50,000 a month. Right? So what would that be per week? 1250? 1250? Yeah. 12,500 a month. I mean a week. Let's say that's bringing you in that. All of this money, what you going to do with it? You're going to put this over here into these high yield accounts. You understand? But these are cash flow coming in. This is what you're going to use, right, to increase cash flow. Now, let's say you were doing direct sales. We're going to put in, and now you got a direct sales business, right? So you got a franchise here because you've learned the B system. You got a direct sales, or what's known as network marketing. You got direct sales here, right? This right here is very inexpensive. It's going to be super inexpensive. And I'm going to do a more of a breakdown of that when we get into the expense chart, but I'm not dealing with that right now. But what I want you to show you is in the direct sales, every single month, if you're good at direct sales, you can be doing like $500,000 a month. Right? Your franchise too can start doing that over time. But in the beginning, let's say you get up to like, let's say you're doing about, let's say you're doing 3,000 to 5,000. So let's say you're doing 5,000 here in your first month. Right? That's $5,000 more. Now we got a total of $23,300 that we can be dropping in here, right, on a regular basis. Right? So even if this was breaking down to 5,000 and you had 12, let's say what's that, 12,500, 1250. That is 1250. So we had 19,550 you can be dropping in here as you add these types of what you call it, assets that are bringing you income on a regular basis. So that's the business side. I wanted you to see why business is good, and you can be bringing in a lot more money. I'm just using low numbers because I like to use low numbers as far as to help people understand it. But really, your franchise could be bringing you hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and your direct sales can be bringing you hundreds of thousands of dollars a month because they are in this quadrant. They are in the B quadrant. Hold 1 second. I'm sorry, I hit the wrong thing. This is what I want to hit. They're in the B quadrant here. And this is why they can do that. They're in this B quadrant. Everything in the B quadrant makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. This S quadrants usually make anywhere from thousands to tens of thousands of dollars. The E quadrant makes anywhere, usually per month, will usually make thousands. It's only going to make thousands. So E quadrants are going to make thousands. Self-employed is going to make tens of thousands, like thousands to tens of thousands. Business owner style or models are going to make anywhere from, or business systems, that's what I like to call them. Business systems are going to make you anywhere from high tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands of dollars. And investing, when you get those high yield investments, and this is per month, when you get these high yield investments, the sky's the limit. The sky is the limit. Right? So the reason you want to come here is because it speeds up the process of getting here to where your interest payments are going to make you wealthy. So all you're trying to do is find what is the quickest method in order for me to be able to get to the top. And so the quickest, cheapest method to get there To be honest with you, all the way, and this is why I've switched to this industry, is direct sales. Direct sales get you there immediately for the least amount of money. In other words, everybody can do it. I don't care how much money you make. It's only going to cost you $150 to $500 for a franchise where you can make millions of dollars. For real. Like, no joke. I mean, for real. In other words, that industry makes more millionaires than music, movies, and sports combined. It makes more millionaires than any other industry. It's the greatest kept secret in the world because people do not understand money. They do not understand it's in the B quadrant, and they do not understand what they can do with it. The problem is that no one, remember, financial literacy is taught in the home. So no one ever taught anyone to do what? Take that money and put it in high yield interest accounts. So what happens is, remember the law of the curve. We talked about the law of the curve. Okay, we did that in part 4 of becoming your own bank. And the law of the curve does this. But the problem is, everybody thinks everything goes like this. It doesn't. So what I want you to get is that in the law, due to that fact, when you become a business owner like me, let me give you an example. Okay, I want to give you, because this has happened to me like 2 and 3 times. I'm just going to give you an example. When I had my trucking company, and we were doing, I mean, we've had times when we were doing $50,000 a day. You think that's going to last forever, right? I want you to get this. You think that that's going to last forever, right? When I was in the network marketing industry, I'm documented 5-figure monthly earner. You think that's going to last forever. So what happens is, this is a business system that's going to create money. My trucking company was a business system because I didn't have to work in the company, really. I didn't have to work all day. Like, I could work a couple hours if I needed to or whatever, but my drivers were driving. I didn't drive, right? I want to make sure you all can still hear me. Can you all still hear me on the line? Please put it in the chat. My screen just did something and I didn't like what it did. So I want to make sure that you all can hear me. Okay, you guys can hear me. Okay, great. All right, outstanding. All right. All right. So here we go. I want to move forward. Great. You guys can hear me. I wanted to make sure. Something happened with my screen and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't a problem with you all. Okay. So the business owner, right? So you think it's going to come in forever. This is where the problem comes in. This is how we went broke. This is why I said, with what I'm working with now, and if you want more information, again, remember, always, for more information, you can send more. I'm sorry, I'm hitting the wrong ones. For more information, send more to 833-740-2315. Okay, do that. All right, and that is what we want to do, right? But the key thing that I want to definitely say is, you think that's going to come in forever, and it's not going to come in forever because there's a law of the curve. So how do we beat the law of the curve? And this is why I said I can see a clear path to $1 billion with what we're doing. Here's why. Because if you took $50,000 a day and you put it in one of these high yield interest accounts, do you understand what I'm saying? And now when the economy goes up, it goes up. And when the economy goes down, it stays wherever you were at. And then when the economy comes back up, it goes back up. It goes up more. And when it goes down, it levels, your money levels out versus going down. If you can understand that, now you literally are building for wealth. Where before, even though this is residual, see, this money here is residual right here. This is residual income. This money will keep coming and keep coming and keep coming, but it's going to go up and it's going to go down. It's going to go up and it's going to go down. And even if it goes bankrupt and goes out of business, now everything that you were surviving and living off of, you start another business, yeah, you have to do it all over again, which you become a master at that. Don't get me wrong. You get good at it, right? So you don't really worry when you lose a business or anything anymore because you know how to build another one. The issue is it's going to come a time when you get too old to do it again. So it's the same thing with investments. Investments do what? Investments go up, right? And then they go down. Investments go up and they go down. Investments go up and they go down, right? These investments, they go up and down, right? But if you can pull out of these investments what's necessary out of them or sell them at the high times, take that money and throw it in this account, now it's going to be giving you paying you interest forever, and it goes up and never goes down. It goes up and never goes down. And it's paying you interest on that every single year or month or whenever it pays. Now you remain wealthy and you never even have to touch this money because you can borrow from this money from yourself and pay yourself back. So your goal is to create as many streams of income, but you have to know why you're creating the streams of income. And that's what we didn't know. We didn't know why we were creating the streams of income. We thought we were creating streams of income so that those streams of income could take care of us. No, the streams of income were not designed to take care of you. The streams of income were designed to be invested into high yield, no risk, non-taxable, pre or post taxable entities that would take care of you for the rest of your life, that would drop the interest forever. That's why you have multiple streams of income. So with that, do we have any questions before we close out? I believe I've exhausted the conversation. Do we have any questions before we close out? If so, in the chat. Let me go through the chat. I haven't seen. So you have this every day. We don't have this. We're not going to have this call. I mean, I do it live almost every day. So I will be live every day. But the workshops, let me give you, let me show you some of the dates. Also, you can go to our Facebook. If you click on my name and click on events, you'll see all of these posted. But we are on 4 now. 5 will come in. That's going to be tomorrow at 8:30. I will have one tomorrow at 8:30. Workshop 6. Workshop 5 is going to be credit repair. So I'll be dealing specifically with credit repair, right? And so I've already shown you in the cash flow a little bit of why you want to use and how to use credit. But I'm going to be dealing with a whole workshop on just pure credit repair only. So credit repair will be tomorrow. And then after that, workshop 6 will be on Tuesday of next week. Protect your family, right? We then will have, I believe, workshop 7 is going to be home ownership, no credit check. That'll be next Wednesday, right? And then on Sunday, I'm going to have putting it all together. So you're going to understand how all of these components work together, right? And that'll be at 1 o'clock p.m. Central, 2 o'clock p.m. Eastern. Okay. So these are you'll be invited, of course. You can always go to my page, like I said, click on events, and you can just say that you're going. to the event, and it'll send you updates on when the event's going to start and so forth. All of these events are already posted. Then on top of that, we will also have our regular sneak peek on Sunday. Every Sunday, we have our sneak peek. This is where we walk you through the process. We help you and walk you through the process. If you would like a consultation with me, please text more to 833-740-2315. This consultation, I'm going to ask you specific questions just to see where you're at so we can get you started on this path to success. And then I'm going to hand you over to those experts that are on the same level of expert as Oprah Winfrey has, as Warren Buffett has, those level of experts, but they will work. These are experts that have that level of intellect, that are willing to work with individuals that don't have as much to invest as them. Because in order to get to those type of investors, or excuse me, those type of experts, you actually have to have $5 million or more. Well, in this situation, though, we're able to get to those level of experts without it. So if you want more information, again, text more to 833-740-2315. Or if you are on my Facebook or any of our social media, please just text it there. Okay. I mean, just come, you can reach me right there, and that'll be fine. All right, great. Thank you so much. So much. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Very educational and useful. I appreciate that. All right. So with that, please I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Again, like I said, tomorrow we will be having the credit repair. It'll be I apologize, wrong one. Tomorrow we will have the credit repair, right? Workshop 5 credit repair at 8:30 and then 9:30 p.m. Same time as this one was tonight. All right. And so if you missed it, if you didn't get to see it tonight, we definitely looking forward to seeing you at the you can always watch the replay. All of them have the replays. I want everybody to get this information. Even if you're watching the replay, share this with everyone that you know. It is very important that you share this with everyone that you know, right? You want them to get this information as well. And if you're not able to always listen to it in the background like a podcast. You can be working, doing this, playing it multiple times, because it's going to go into your subconscious mind until you can actually sit down and see it. But it's good to have the information and then go through, sit down and see it. And I even do that with books. I'll get the audible book and I'll listen to it, but then I'll go back and read the book because it's going to have different things in it, diagrams, all of those type things that I need to. But I might listen to that book like 10 times straight through before I even read the book, because I want it in my subconscious mind if it's something that I want to really learn, right? So with that, guys, I appreciate you all. See you all at the top. Hold on a second. Again, love you all with a perfect love. And there's nothing you can do about that. Peace.